Welcome back, everybody. If you're new, my name is Nicholas, and this is Investing Against the Grain. China numbers came out this morning, actually, at 3 a.m. If I look tired, it's because I am. I was up all night, all early morning, waiting for these numbers to come out. Now, we're going to go into this. We're going to look at my model. We're going to look at my chart and see what this means, what we can infer from these numbers, and if it's something we should be worried about or not. I'm sure you guys have already seen the numbers. I'm sure you're already seeing what's going on in the pre-market, but let me put some truth and more substance around these numbers. Now, before we do that, don't forget, we do have a new merch store. So if you want some cool gear, check it out. We got all kinds of stuff in there. And also, don't forget, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, ring that bell, and let's get into it. All right, so here we can see my model, made in China, and this is purely China, okay? And this is based on the numbers that are normally released. And here, let's just get right into it. You can see 52,859 vehicles as an aggregate were exported / sold domestically. Now, the first thing to understand is that this is purely sales, actual sales. So what was sold domestically in China and what was exported and actually sold outside of China. So that's what we have here. Let's first talk about the good stuff. Okay, the good stuff is, check out this number for the second month of the quarter. So for the second month of the quarter, I mean, this number just blew it out domestically. Okay, we had 12,000 here, 21,000 here, 18 here, right? I mean, in reality, this looks like the second best month we've had, just period, for domestic sales, right? September was 52,000, or third best month. Okay, yeah. So here we had 35,000, but this was before it was even an export hub. Domestic sales look good, look strong, right? So a lot of optimism there. Here we can see exports drop. Well, sold exports drop precipitously. And so we're at 21,000. Last quarter, we were at 40,000. And, you can see at the end of September, we were at 3,800. But keep in mind, that was the last month of the quarter, new export hub. You guys know the drill, right? I've talked about this ad nauseum at this point. But the point here is more so about this number. I think this was what was shocking for a lot of people. And mainly because what happened, right? It seems like something might have happened. And why do I say that? Well, I say that because when we look at what happened in October sold 54,000 vehicles. And October also had a month or a week off. The first week of October was a holiday in China, so they essentially were completely shut down. If you do the math for this should have come out to about an 18,000 vehicle per week rate. Now, if we look at where we're currently at, if we take this number and we divide this by 4, just for easy rough numbers, we're sitting here at 13,000 vehicles per week. So what happened? Well, keep in mind, and I think this is a very, very important thing to remember. These are sales. These are not production numbers, all right? In reality, when it comes to Tesla, there is more demand than what we know what to do with. The limiting factor right now is production. It's not demand. So Tesla, if you look at the lead times for all their vehicles, it's insane. It's so far out there right now. We're talking about months to half a year to even longer out. So demand's not the problem. The limiting factor is production. Now, these are sales numbers. In other words, these are numbers saying, hey, I took the keys and I put it into the customer's hand and we signed the paperwork and we made our exchange. All right. These are not numbers saying this is how much Giga Shanghai produced. For all we know, you could add 20,000, 15,000 to this number, and that's what they actually produce. Keep in mind, now that Giga Shanghai is the export hub, it takes longer to take a vehicle produced in China and to ship it all the way to Europe, right? That's a longer sales transaction, if you will. So for all we know, there's 15 trucks, 3, 4, 5 car carriers that are on their way to Europe right now, and they just haven't landed yet. So December might be a ridiculous month. We'll have to see. So that's one. These are not production numbers. We will get production numbers in about a week and 2 weeks from now. So that's when we will really know what's happening at Giga Shanghai. So don't read too much into these numbers. And the main reason I say this, like in the past, I would not have said that. I would have said this is shocking. But keep in mind, Elon Musk has we had the leaked email where he talked about or talked to his internal employees saying, hey, listen, we are not in the business anymore of this whole wave type way of selling. Okay, we are not going to sit here and spend crazy amounts of money for delivery and expedited ways to get vehicles into the hands of customers. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to pace ourselves. We are going to go through the process the right way. We're not going to waste extra money for essentially a net no gain. And instead, what we're going to do is we're going to continue the process. We'll sell, we'll be efficient, we'll maximize costs, right? In other words, better for margins, better for Q4 earnings in January 29th, by the way, I believe that was announced. So this might be the first sign of that. This might be the first sign of Tesla going away from this whole wave approach where we have crazy amounts of deliveries at the end of the year, at the end of the last 2 months of the quarter, and instead trying to average things out a little bit, right? Trying to smooth out that curve. What's the real benefit here? Well, let's start off with what's the benefit if you stick with the old way. It turns out there was none. It turns out all Tesla was doing is spending more money at the end of the quarters just to expedite vehicles to customers. It turns out they were burning out their employees, which we all knew that. And then at the beginning of the next quarter, we just saw a drop-off, right? A drop-off in sales because, people were exhausted, people were just exhausted, people were burnt out. So the human capital aspect of it was just diminishing. So where was the real benefit? It seems like there was none. The only thing you did was maybe potentially hurt morale or just, make people feel exhausted and tired at the end of a quarter. That's not a good thing, right? You want longevity with people, with workers, with employees. And so I think this might be the first sign of that. Moving forward, I still think December is probably going to be a massive number as far as sales, but I think we really need to start looking more at production. All right, production is what's going to matter. To quote Elon, we need to pretend and go about our business as if there were no quarters, as if we weren't a publicly traded company. In other words, doing the right things for the right reasons, right? And not just spending money to spend money for a arbitrary cutoff date, which is the end of the quarter. We'll see what happens here. Either way, I think this is still a positive number, okay? Let's extrapolate this. Let's say that in December, we get the exact same number. Well, that's not going to work. Let's say we get the exact same number, and then let's aggregate this, okay? So if we add all of these up, we get 160,000 vehicles. Let's say that Fremont has, 110,000 vehicles. So that comes out to, if we add these up for the quarter, this would be 270,000 vehicles. Last quarter, they did 240. They're still about to blow this out. All right, that would be 30,000 more vehicles in Q4 than what they did last quarter. I know we all want to see a number like 70,000 because we saw this right here, this 18,000 number on a per week basis for October. But keep in mind, we're talking about sales here. We're not talking about production. Production might still be ridiculously high. And at the end of the day, what we really care is about the bigger picture. We don't really care so much about each quarter. A lot said here. I know there's high hopes for these numbers. I was excited. We even had a little head fake last night thinking it was 70,000, but turns out it was, just under 53,000 vehicles. These numbers are still impressive. Giga Shanghai is expanding. We're probably going to get the opening of Giga Austin this month, maybe Giga Berlin. We really don't know what's going on with that. We still have a whole bunch of bullish things going on. Tomorrow's 12/9, so who knows what happens with that? Probably nothing, but hey, let me have my holiday hope over here. With that said, we're going to wrap this video up. I hope this just brought some clarity to these numbers. Don't freak out. This is all part of the plan, part of the bigger plan. China for sure does not have a demand problem. Tesla does not have a demand problem. The limiting factor is production. China's expanding. Berlin's going to be opening soon. Austin's going to be opening soon. Fremont's going to be expanding. It's just, there's so much going on here. Production's the limiting factor. It is not demand. Look at this. China, 31,000 domestic. I mean, come on. This is just insane. It's the biggest car market out there. And it's going to be even more ridiculous once Berlin's able to take over production for Europe, and China's going to be able to focus on China. It's really happening. These numbers just don't lie. The machine is rolling. We're about to see a crazy next 2 to 3 months. All right, again, we're going to leave it there. So I appreciate if you stuck to the end. Do me a favor, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, ring that bell. I love you all. Peace.